Yeah, I want to put out a slight, small tribute to my father, who actually passed away a while ago. Looking back at all the changes that have happened over in this country from, I don't know, the 50s and the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s and 2000, it's getting worse and worse and worse. And it's a plan. But I want to tell you that they can't change people that easy, although they're trying. They try it with psychology tricks. They try it with their fancy meds. They try it with their brainwashing on television, through the media, through the airwaves, through their political correctness. But, actually my dad's lineage goes all the way back to the Revolutionary War. And I'm going to say this, that he was an MP during the Korean War, and also in the Germany on the front, where the communists were at the height of the tensions during the Cold War. He was like considered one of the speed bumps, after service in Korea. And he was a real easy guy to get along with. But as far as 100% patriotism, all the way, always was like that. All the time. Absolutely, totally unwavering. But I have to say, a lot of times people, when they make these arguments too about, this violates the Bill of Rights, this does that, I'm going to tell you this. If there was no Bill of Rights, if it didn't exist, if they outlawed the Bill of Rights, if they said you can't have the Bill of Rights, we're to put it back in place. That's all there is to it. And, the only way to do that is to fight for it. Simple and the plain 101. And, words mean one thing, but action means another. And you don't want to be stupid. You don't want to be out there in the front. You don't want to be full frontal assault. You don't want to freaking stick your neck out so damn far that you're going to get slammed and be an easy target. But I'm going to tell you that the thing is, these are just some of his pictures. I'm not going to put all of them out there. I'm just going to do a couple of them. Some of the more, nicer pictures, put it that way, So I'm going to tell you, though, that the thing is, traditions don't go away easy. Now, one of the things also, when we elect a president, it's very important, and it's also one of the things I'm going to tell you I have a major beef with, is also the people that got behind Barack Obama 2 times. I mean, I could see 1 time maybe, but not 2 times. But, he's not actually the main problem. The main problem is his financiers, and also the people that are actually out to destroy the United States, like some of his financiers and major backers was George Soros. And also the fact that there's a lot of people just looking for something, and what's the guy that I elect is going to give me the most. Some of the lessons going back all the way to the real wars in the United States and the American Revolution. And, I actually got more respect for the people that, I can't knock the people that fought on the side of the North either. But, the Confederacy was up against the wall against tremendous odds. They were against, an army far greater than twice their size, more well-equipped, more well-financed, more well-paid, in every which way from Sunday, and they took 3 times more casualties. I know some people argue about the racial issue and all that, and I don't think it had nothing to do with it, really. The more I'm thinking about it, I thought it was an issue, but now I'm really thinking it wasn't even much of an issue at all. It really had to do with, if you look at how Reconstruction went about after the Civil War. I'm trying to digress in here because it's been a major topic recently. It's been something whereby, the hypocrisy of the North really showed up. But a real soldier is not a direct deposit in a green uniform. A real soldier will arm himself out of his own pocket. A real soldier will train on his own. A real soldier won't do what's required of them. A real soldier will do far beyond that, or Marine, or sailor. They'll go far beyond that. They won't go beyond what is required of me to get by. they go far beyond that. And, you know, I can tell you, my dad was somebody who was like, you know, he was in this for so many, I'm going to say how many years. He wasn't in 20 years or retired on a, you know, a lifelong check or anything, but he lived it his whole life. Although he was an easygoing guy and he was a family guy and everything, but he was very much, you know, supportive of the United States all the way. And I guess, you know, maybe that goes back to, it's ingrained in you from past generations, all the way back to the Revolutionary War, because I could say my father, I guess goes to me too, I guess, had three you know, direct descendants. I mean, direct, the same name, two of them the same name. One of them was the grandfather that were in the Revolutionary War. You know, so, I mean, I could say anybody in my family, on both sides of my family, were in Vietnam, the Gulf War, Afghanistan, World War I, World War II, you name it, all the way back. And, you know, a lot of people's families really aren't in that. And, you know, sometimes I wonder, is like, not having that type of experience, you know, I'm showing nicer pictures here. I'm not showing anything bad. But, you know, they don't have that ingrained in them that, you know, just how devious and how harmful it is to the continuation of the United States to have people like Barack Obama and Jeb Bush and George Bush and Herbert Walker Bush and Bill Clinton. These kind of yo-yos occupy the office of the presidency. I think the last good president really was JFK. I really do. I really do. I think it was that long ago that we really had a good president. Maybe Jimmy Carter was all right. He was pretty weak, but, I mean, he was probably a lot more honest than the rest of them, too. And even Nixon probably... Nixon looks... You know, they called him so bad for the stuff that he did in Watergate. The guy looks like a total angel, saint, choir boy compared to Hillary Clinton. Right now, is probably the front runner. But you know, we get the leadership we deserve, but you know what? I will not recognize that leadership. Because anybody that's a leader that becomes in the office of the ilk of, say, Hillary Clinton or Jeb Bush, they are not Americans in any respect of the word. Whether they were born here, whether they have the proper birth certificate or not. See, my beef with Obama is really, I know probably, maybe he didn't have the birth certificate, but, you know, if he was a stand-up guy that was actually for the Bill of Rights and not some yo-yo pushing George Soros' policies and his little puppet, I mean, I wouldn't give a damn about the birth certificate in the least. But, you know, really, when it comes down to it, principles don't go away. And say, for instance, we don't have, you know, the actual Constitution anymore. That may be something, because, you know, if you look back in the last 15 years, how things have changed, even in the last 15, you know, a lot of people just couldn't believe what happened from the 50s to the 60s. A lot of people just couldn't believe, you know, and then it kind of died down a little bit in the 70s. But then other things were cropping up. There's a lot of different issues coming up. By the time 15 years from now, it may not be where there's the United States around, because I think they got something planned where they're going to try a financial implosion, and then basically the government will be taken over by the IMF, the World Bank, the Bank of International Settlements, or some, you know, global governing body that will control us one way or the other. You know, and that's a lot what Obamacare garbage is about, too. But there's plenty of ways to fight him back. And, you know, the thing is, you got to fight him back. Because, and I don't want to say nothing so, you know, like, you know, Alex Jones, he's putting out, you know, the solution to 1984 or 1776, you know. That guy is a multimillionaire freaking sitting in a freaking mansion. He's got an underground bunker, bodyguards. He's a yo-yo, man. He's actually working for the bad guys. I'm pretty damn sure of it, because I'm glad I don't work for him. I know some of my videos, some people used to say, you know, some of my videos went on somebody else's blog or something. I'm like, you know, hey, man, I got no freaking... I don't have any connection to nobody. I just do my own thing. And that's one of the reasons I do this, because I just do exactly what it comes from me. I don't get, nobody's freaking paying me or influencing me to do anything, and that's the way I keep it. So it's 100% pure honesty on my part. And I've been accused of different things and stuff, but I can tell you one thing, man, that ain't the game. Because right now, if I wanted to, I could just go work right back in a CPA office and make, you know, quite many times more than I'd ever be making on, something on YouTube or something, but I'm not complaining. You know what I mean? I'm not complaining because I realize the tough fight is not something that is, gravitate where the most money goes, because you're going to actually have to work harder to, get by to do what you need to do, when you're being morally right. And I got to tell you one thing, my dad was definitely morally right, 110%. I mean, man, this guy was like a gem amongst a sea of shit in everywhere, every respect, including my own family, on both sides of my family. He was the good one, man. As a matter of fact, he trained my cousins that were in Vietnam. He trained them in hunting, took them all the safety courses, taught them all about gun safety. They were avid hunters. They went to Vietnam. One of my cousins was an M60 machine gunner, and actually it turned out his son later became a USMC Scout sniper later on. And a lot of that, if my father was not there to guide them young and actually teach them all about the weaponry, they would have never been able to defend our country. Because when you go in the military, you don't get as much training as you think you do if you pretty much know what the deal is. Actually, one of the reasons the military in the United States is so damn good is because most of the people that go in the military, they got way more familiarity with weapons than anybody else in any other country. That's why we kick ass. That's the honest thing. Yeah, that's the honest thing. Actually, my father, he trained my cousins a lot too, and they knew plenty of stuff before they went into the military. I know my cousin was actually walking point with the freaking M60 in Vietnam jungles, and his son went out to be a Marine Corps Scout sniper. But without my father's influence, none of that would have happened. I had other cousins that were out in other different areas, and I could long a lot of stories, but a lot of it came from stuff from my father, and that's the difference that you make. And that's another thing that these yo-yos are trying to knock out, the quote-unquote gun culture. But I tell you what, without the gun culture, there is nothing to defend your freedoms. Nothing. So, I mean, that's the most important thing in the world, actually. But, it's not just the gun, it's all those principles. And if there was a ban on the freaking Bill of Rights by the global freaking powers that be that come up 15 years from now, because you look just from the year 2000, which seemed to be pretty tumultuous, with all the BS rumors out there with the Y2K, to what happened by now, 2015, with all the things that are happening today. 15 years from now, I don't even think it's going to be 15 years from now. I think there'll probably be a financial collapse in the United States. I think it's all planned. But, in reality, if you work hard, and you got your ducks in line, and you defend your own property, and you're righteous, that's important. That's probably the most important thing. But then again, you got to have the means to freaking defend that righteousness. You actually probably will get by. But it's going to be tough going. And you know what? This country didn't get formed by, just voting a certain way, or, people just deciding, oh yeah, we're going to debate, and that's the way it is. Did they debate with the freaking King George of England? Hell no. They didn't debate with him. Did they? Did they debate with the King George of England? No, they didn't debate with him. Sometimes I look at this garbage with the Tea Party. It's a joke, man. I mean, Tea Party, man, they dressed up like Indians and they threw the tea over the freaking side, Nobody dressed up like Arabs and threw, freaking yo-yos out the, you know what I mean? I don't want to get into all that shit because that could be like, I'll take the fifth on that shit. But anyway, you know what I mean. So anyway, it's a tribute to my dad, he was like 110% pro-patriot, all to the max. And he wasn't, he was like strict in one way, but then, man, he was like, this guy would help you anytime. Anybody who's broke down on a freaking road or something like that, anybody needed a favor, anybody needed help with anything, he'd help them. Every time. Every freaking time. Wouldn't ask for nothing. So, I'm going to tell you, man, a lot of times the richest fucks in this world, they're the biggest scumbags going. And, that's why I got no respect for freaking Wall Street at all. None. Zero, zilch, Period. None. Anyway, that's to sum it up. But just remember, even, if you're arguing the Bill of Rights and say that freaking that's no longer the law of the land, don't matter. It's still the law of what we is right. The Bill of Rights didn't start because there was a piece of paper somewhere saying, oh, we better follow that piece of paper. The Bill of Rights started because that's damn well by nature. These are the kind of rights that we need that are in us, that are our rights. And also, those are the kind of things that got to be embodied in governmental law to secure individual freedom. So, I mean, even if those yo-yos 15 years from now or less make the Bill of Rights, oh, it's not a law anymore, screw them all the hell, man. Because you know what's going to come down to it? We're going to have to go like old school all the way. Old school all the way. And I'm talking really old school. And I ain't talking about, oh, better listen to Alex Jones. And there could be no freaking 2-minute commercial. Maybe I'm going to have Google AdSense on here or some shit. I don't know what the hell they're going to play. It could be about ladies' underwear. I don't even know. I don't know what the hell they put on here. I don't look at the ads. I'm not supposed to. But the thing is, I know Alex Jones, he'll put his own freaking 2-minute thing out there at the end of his videos. Hey, you better buy this because the New World Order's coming. I ain't talking like that shit. You know what I mean? If you're going to buy something, you buy something for yourself, for your own survival. That's the most thing. Number one, your own survival, because you can't help others until you help yourself first. And again, if they make the Bill of Rights illegal, that don't matter. That don't matter. It's not illegal by the laws of nature and God, if you want to put it that way, the laws of nature, laws of common sense, or whatever you want to freaking put it by. Screw them all the way. You know what I'm saying? So, we got some shit coming up, but you know what? The more they push, the more we push back.